she has lied about whether she knew who Prince Harry was, and these like details about her childhood change and don't add up.
She's even losing the Wotopian Netflix stars now. The Hollywood names who for so long claimed that they agreed with Meghan Markle's contention that there is institutional racism in the United Kingdom, and that was the reason behind all of the criticism. But now she's lost fellow Netflix star Katherine Ryan, who, remember, was behind the series actually called The Duchess on the streaming platform, and Omid Scobie too, which is quite something. The propagandist in chief. Royal YouTube sensation P-Dina will analyse all of this with me in just one moment. But first, let's have a look at how Katherine Ryan revealed that Meghan Markle was indeed lying about her marriage to Prince Harry, and actually what she knew about the Duke of Sussex before meeting him.
It does feel like she has lied about whether she knew who Prince Harry was, and these like details about her childhood change and don't add up. Like she said on her new Netflix show that they ate TV dinners growing up, but then in an old interview, she's like, we would eat farm fresh, just little things. Her whole act just seems like
I'll show you that
very
in a moment.
manicured and very forced. And I was rooting for her. So I think I've known a lot of Hollywood people. They're not bad people. I certainly don't think she's a bad person.
Oh, she is.
But I think, she likes cozying up to celebrities, and she wants the $1 million deal, or $100 million deal like anyone would. And she likes the fact that she's married to a prince, like, of course. But I would rather someone lean into that and be like, oh my God, like I used to be on Suits and now I'm married to a fucking prince. Like I would rather that than this act of like, oh, I'm just so humble. So I don't know if you guys are watching this like flower sprinkles Netflix show that she's got, but it's really revving people up. So Netflix continues to try to make Meghan Sussex, formerly Meghan Markle, and technically Meghan Mountbatten happen, with her latest peek behind the royal adjacent curtain entitled With Love, Meghan. Described as part Martha Stewart, part Ina Garten, part Alison Roman, part totally unnecessary, the 8-episode lifestyle show is a follow-up to her decidedly unmoving podcast and docuseries that landed with respective thuds, in which the rogue duchess espouses things as inaccessible as sourcing beeswax from your local beekeeper to as basic as arranging fruit in a rainbow order. But one culinary embellishment that is turning heads is Meg's penchant for sprinkling, hopefully, edible flower petals on any dish that she thinks could use a pop of whimsy.
Edible
Cake,
flowers,
donuts,
please.
crudité platters, rainbow fruit salad, frittata, and so on. These are known as flower sprinkles. And I've seen this. I have seen it from chefs. They like to put wild garlic or flowers or something on a meal, and I'm not about it. And I also don't think it constitutes an entire cooking show.
P-Dina, she's lost the Wotopians. The fellow Netflix stars, Katherine Ryan, is even turning on her. What do you make of it?
I just think it was a sign of things to come eventually. People, once you really get to know and see who Megan is, you really don't like her. And I think a lot of people were very curious in the beginning. Well, why are you speaking like this about her? What is it about her? And it's really hard to explain. You just have to see it for yourself. You have to experience it to know why. It's the it factor that is not a good thing for her. It makes you cringe every single time. Because imagine this. Imagine if she was your friend. Would you really truly like this person? Would you feel this kumbaya? I like you, and speak all these niceties about her. No, you more than likely wouldn't, because you see how she treats people. You see how she's trying to be something that she is not, and people despise that. We are in an age now where people need to see things that are real. We need to feel things that are real. That's what social media has done. It has opened the world up to being authentic. People are sharing their authentic selves online. That's what we want now. And Meghan is going back to the Hollywood of like when there was no social media, when everything was run by the PR agencies and you could gaslight people to make them believe one thing and people would never know who you really were because there was no social media. But I think now we're in a different age and people want that. They crave it. I mean, the Kardashians have been, great at exposing and showing their raw selves. I mean, I know some of the show is scripted, but in general, you see their lives very up close and personal with giving birth and their divorces and cheating scandals and they talk about it, they address it. But what Meghan is doing, she doesn't address the obvious and she expects us to really just be on board with what she's trying to paint for us. And we despise that. It's like, why are you lying in our faces and not coming at us in a real way? That is something that we don't like. And she continues to not want to address the elephant in the room. And this is why people eventually come to see the kind of person she is because of how she keeps trying to paint who she is when the reality we see is something that, that's not your reality, Megan. Why are you trying to act like this is who you are? And we don't like it. And so this is why I think people that once liked her don't like her anymore because they can see it for what it truly is now.
And
And
it's
that's
really
the reality.
interesting because P-Dina, Katherine Ryan has been going on a journey. So she has been going on a journey from sort of the left-wing woke world to turning. And look, you could say there are some commercial reasons behind that. Of course, as you say, she is now having to be genuine on her own podcast. She is having to be honest about how she really feels. But part of this is just the facts because you're a liar if you say Meghan didn't lie in With Love, Meghan. I mean, look at, for example, and Katherine Ryan did reference it in her podcast, the clear evidence that she lied about what she ate when she was growing up.
I really enjoyed eating your food. This dish reminded me of the kind of food that I grew up eating in California, like that real sort of farm to table fresh, really.
I was a latchkey kid, so I grew up with a lot of fast food and also a lot of TV tray dinner.
Bullshit. No, you didn't, Meghan. You're a liar. Because in the first clip, P-Dina, when she was on Inside Edition, before she had to paint an untrue story of herself as some sort of victim, there she is saying she ate farm to table fresh in California growing up.
I saw it was on X. I saw Paula Emmett posted that and I couldn't believe it. And there's another one that's coming out too. There's going to be more, Dan. Trust me. This is the first one because she has done so many things to lie. And now the interviews from the past are going to come meet with the interviews of the present. And you're going to see a lot more of them. And this is what people are seeing. This is what I'm talking about. Once you experience and see who she is, you're like, wait a minute, that's a lie. What are you talking about? And that's what people are going to see more and more of. And that's what's going to make them not like her. Because think about it. Like I said, when you have a friend and you see your friend behaving in a certain way, you start to take that personally. You're like, wait a minute, or are you lying then to me? And that's why people are not liking her, Dan, because they're seeing it for themselves. I mean, the internet's forever. All these things are going to come back. And this is just the beginning. I'm telling you, Dan, it's just the beginning. Because now with her show and all the things she's saying, more is coming out.
Totally. And I just say, Katherine Ryan, welcome to the party. But I've just got to work on you now about the whole institutional racism and the royal family thing because it just isn't true, Katherine. But we'll get there. We will get there. Right. She hadn't finished, though, P-Dina. Watch.
Whether they love something or hate something, whatever keeps them watching more episodes, and they're posting loads about it online. If this was Netflix's intention to be like, let's throw Meghan under the bus, like personally, where even the people who really liked her are sort of turning, not against her, but like, this is just, she just doesn't seem to be the kind of gal that I would want to be friends with. It's too manicured. It's too beige. And this clip that's going around where Mindy Kaling is in her kitchen, and Mindy's like, "Oh, who would have thought that Meghan Markle eats at Jack in the Box?" And she's like, "You know, I am Sussex now. My last name is Sussex, and it feels so wonderful to have the same last name as the royal family. I mean, my children." I don't even think, think less, honestly. There, I've said it. I think less of women who change their name anyway.
So then we get a bit of the woke feminism in there, P-Dina. But still very interesting. And I think what is particularly fascinating is Meghan Markle is signing up to some of this idea that actually there is some type of secret sabotage going on within Netflix. She doesn't trust anyone there now. This is all a great big conspiracy. But it's not, is it? They've done their best, but they're only working with some pretty awful raw material where the only interesting moments that went viral were the moments when you saw Meghan close to explosion point, showing her true self.
Right. And that's what people want to see. And at the end of the day, Netflix is a business. They are trying to make money. This is not about being your friend and trying to show loyalty to you. Are you making them money? And if you're not, the reality is you're not. And they're going to go to where the money is. And so Megan, what she does in all of her geniusness is she wants to, tell people you're the reason why I'm failing. She wants to blame people and never take accountability. You'll never get anywhere like that. You're going to always fail because you cannot seem to see how people want to see you as a real person. And if you're not doing things that are making them money, they don't want nothing to do with you. Maybe look within yourself, Megan, to see that it's you. It's not other people. And that's why I always say, Dan, get your popcorn, because we're like, well, what are you gonna do now, Megan girl? What you gonna do now? Because you just don't get it. You want to keep pretending like it's everyone else's fault. And it's never going to be something that is going to put you in a good light when you're always blaming other people.
But
And I don't fault Netflix at all.
No, but P-Dina, even the propagandists, even the freaky little weirdos who used to make their living from being the Sussex Squad propagandists, like Omid Scobie, have disappeared. Look at this post from Tori Bakahe, who wrote, "Note how none of Markle's friends, in inverted commas, are supporting her latest TV flop. Not even Scobie, the one who was so loyal that he served up vicious lies about King Charles and the Princess of Wales on her behalf, causing unimaginable stress and worse, complete silence from the snake now." And that's because Scobie realizes the game is up, right? But first, the reason you're watching this show is that it's becoming increasingly difficult to trust mainstream media, or the so-called fact checkers, who claim to determine which facts are true. And there's a good reason for that, given the debate over free speech, the controversy surrounding Brexit, and how Trump and other politicians challenging the status quo are portrayed. So I've got the solution. It's called Ground News, and it's the best way to stay informed and cut through media bias and narratives so you can get the facts for yourself. Go to ground.news/outspoken to check it out right now, and I've got an amazing discount too. But let me show you this incredible website and app and action first. So let's look at the recent speech that Vice President of the US, JD Vance, gave to the Munich Security Conference. He tore into European countries, including our government here in the UK, over the complete rolling back of free speech, which is a real concern for me. And you can see that 361 sources covered this story. But what Ground News does, and it's amazing, is immediately show how the story is being covered, broken down by whether the organizations lean to the left or the right. This is called the bias distribution service. Now you can scroll down and see every article about the topic broken down by the political position and ownership of the publication. So, for example, Newsmax, GB News, gave fair and accurate coverage, focused very much on how Vance was, I guess, being brave enough to point out some uncomfortable truths. But the lefty publications, of course, they went with their normal narrative. HuffPost claimed the speech left all of Europe aghast. It really didn't. The Independent decided to lead on a nonsense claim about a joke over Elon Musk. But what's more is that Ground News gets to know you personally. It provides you with the news stories you're interested in, while also analyzing your own biases. So my favorite feature is this thing called the blind spot feed. It surfaces upwards of 20 stories every day that you might not be hearing about because of the corruption of the mainstream media. Now, I know you love the news, but you don't trust the legacy media. That's why you're watching Outspoken. What Ground News does is give you the tools to understand the truth. I have to be honest, it's now the only way I read the news because it allows me to see through manipulative mainstream media narratives. Go to ground.news/outspoken to check it out. Subscribe through my link for 40% off the Vantage plan, which is what I use for unlimited access. Ground News is subscriber funded, and supporting my sponsors also supports my work. So for less than a Netflix subscription, you can get all the world's news in one place and think for yourself. It's been a game changer for a news junkie like me. That's ground.news/outspoken. But now, back to the show.
Yeah, he knows it is over. It is over. And I think for him, the biggest way for him to even get his branding back is to say, "Hey, look, I've switched to the other side. It's over. I'm going to give you all the inside secrets to now Meghan," because I think that would be a big turning point for him to kind of rise up and be almost the hero, because he will give a lot of great insight into who Meghan is. And I think staying quiet is a big sign that, yeah, for him, he's no longer on that train. And I'm hoping that he will come out and reveal some things that have happened with his relationship with Meghan. But yeah, I think a lot of people are going to start leaving and, not really staying with her, because when you do stay with Meghan, you're not winning. You are going down with the ship if you are still on her side, because it's not something you can defend. You can't try to make her the hero. You can't say, she's done nothing wrong. This is something that you have to wake up to the true reality. And I think people that are doing that are going to see, yeah, this was just not good. And so they have to come out and do what is right. And eventually, Dan, it is going to be Harry. Because I think
Yes,
he's
of
close
course.
to doing that. I mean,
Of
look at this
course.
picture. You see this picture right here that we're
Yes.
showing? Everyone is smiling pretty much. Or let me try to think. There's another one with this shot right here. Harry is the only one who is not smiling. And I think that is just something internal for him that shows
Hostage.
he's just not feeling it. Yeah, he's a
That
hostage.
was his hostage video moment. You are right to point
Yeah.
out, by the way, of course she did treat Omid Scobie like a piece of dirt. Now, I have no sympathy for Omid Scobie, though, because he, for commercial reasons, put up with it. Put up with her lying. Put up with her throwing him under the bus and saying, "Oh, no, I had nothing to do with this awful book," when we all knew that was a lie. So more fool him for claiming to be a journalist when actually he was a propagandist. But look, it's also not going well at all in terms of Meghan's relationship with Netflix. I hinted at this before, P-Dina, but a exclusive here from the Daily Express, where they say Netflix regrets the £85 million deal, which they say has not paid off. An insider telling the British newspaper, it doesn't matter how much Netflix try and spin this, With Love Meghan has not been a success either critically or commercially. It's been savaged by critics the world over. Sure, there have been a few lukewarm reviews of the series. I mean, I have to be honest, I haven't seen them. But in general, it's been poorly received. The source goes on, Meghan and the Netflix PR machine tried to gloss over the failure by having the Duchess post on social media that the show had broken into the top 10 rankings, but it just as quickly dropped out again. Even the SAG Awards, which aired in February, is still in the top 10 global list and has been pretty consistently, while Meghan's show is nowhere to be seen. And not surprisingly, P-Dina, the ratings for the show are far lower than Harry and Meghan, the documentary series. And Royally Sage pointed out that Meghan's show had way less viewers than she has followers on Instagram, low-key showing how many bots there are on her account. So all of this, P-Dina, does seem to point to the fact that this has not been a success.
It was to be expected. I mean, even on my channel, I talked about how when she did archetypes, it did well the first day or two, but eventually people drop off. And that's exactly what I predicted would happen for this series. And to come out and make it look like it's a win so prematurely just shows that you're just trying to grab onto any kind of success rather than trying to be a success. And that's what we expected. It happened and it will continue to happen. Meghan is on a losing streak. And if you can't top the show that they did really well, that when you were talking badly about the royal family, you're never going to have success with anything unless it's talking badly about the royal family. And if Netflix did know that. I mean, I think what happened, they wanted her to do a spy on the wall type of show with her children. They didn't want to do that. Netflix was really trying to get her to do something they knew would do well. They knew this was going to happen. And so we're just waking up to the reality. They're just trying to fill out their time now to get through this contract, I believe, and then off to other people's shows because they know it's not going to do well, anything that they do, because Meghan and Harry, they don't want to do what they need to do to win. And that's unfortunate for them because that's why you left the royal family. You left to give up the life that you had to try to make money. Well, here in America, the only really way you're making money is doing the things that make you uncomfortable. And if you don't want to do that, you're not going to be a success. So you deserve what is happening to you. You're not going to tell us to watch this crap of a show and think you're going to have success. No, do the things you don't want to do because that's why you left the royal family. So now go do what you said you were going to do. Make that money. But you don't want to. You don't want to do what you have to do to make it. So you deserve this to lose. I feel no sympathy for Meghan and Harry for what they've done to the royal family. They need to feel hurt, really, really, truly gut-wrenching, what have we done type feelings. Because that's how we feel. We need you to feel that. Because what you did to the royal family was egregious. So you need to hurt in your pain to pay the price for what you did to the royal family. You're paying the piper now. That's what we're seeing.
P-Dina, from what I can see, the only people who seem to be totally on board with Meghan when it comes to these shows, which, let's be honest, are just clearly not good, because I can show you all of the left-wing publications, P-Dina, have all turned on this show. It's not a political thing. It's just that the show is unquestionably bad. Even the San Francisco Chronicle has given it a terrible review. But there are the people who I call the race baiters, who are the ones that want to create a narrative that the bad reviews are about something else, P-Dina. And there's a publication called Hello Beautiful. And they posted, Meghan Markle's new Netflix cooking show With Love Meghan has received dozens of hateful reviews. But are the negative critiques rooted in the belief black women don't deserve a soft life? And I'm like, well, okay, they've posed a question there. So then I went and actually read this piece, and it is totally race-based in my view. They say underneath every anger-tinged sentence about what Meghan is doing on screen is the sentiment that there is something else she should be doing. Perhaps it's her freedom as a black woman, not the content itself, that ticks critics off. Do you think there's been any type of racist undertone to the criticism of this series, as Hello Beautiful claims?
I think it's hard to think this is about racism when you look at Meghan and you don't even see a black woman. How can that even be about race? She looks like an Italian, Hispanic, white woman. Okay, that's the reality. So when people say that, it's just an excuse to have a reason for why people are treating her that way. And it's also showing not wanting to be accountable to the reality of what this is. This show is just not very good. And when people do things, they're going to get pushback when it's just not good. And when you want to say that something is about race and you clearly can see that she's not a black woman, we just looking at you with the side eye all day long, because it's like, wait a minute, no, we're looking at her for the content that she's putting out, and it's just not good. People can't relate to it. And I think people that do this, they do a disservice to people in general that need to be better, to heighten your ability to come at with your best. And Meghan has just not done that. And it's a disservice to Meghan to do what she needs to do to make the money, because no one is looking at her and thinking this is really truly a black woman. I mean, when has she ever tried to even express herself as a black
Well, and she
woman with
admits
her hair?
herself, doesn't she? She admits herself that actually no one viewed her as a black woman until she joined the royal family. And actually, no one even viewed her as a black woman when she first started dating Prince Harry. It was Harry who decided to thrust the issue of race into the public domain with that first statement that Jason Canal did not want released, that Prince William did not want released, that King Charles did not want released. But we do see Narinder Kaur, your old debating chum here on Outspoken, going down a relatively similar path. But she, again, thinks, P-Dina, we've got this wrong. And somehow... Well, let me show you what she said. So she posted on X, firstly, with love, Meghan has backfired spectacularly on the British MSM and the haters who think they can bring her down. Meghan Sussex, sorry, it made me laugh so much that she's using the Meghan Sussex thing. Meghan Sussex has more charm and kindness in her little finger than the whole establishment put together, and the world loves her. Now, I will let you respond, P-Dina, of course, but I just want to show you the video that accompanied that X post
Everybody's
first.
talking about it, and I love how with Love Meghan, Meghan Sussexes' new show on Netflix has backfired spectacularly on mainstream media and all the haters in Britain. It's backfired because they thought they'd do reviews, slagging it off, salating her, thinking the public were going to be behind that, saying, yeah, we agree. But what happened was the public watched it, stateside and in Britain, all of the world, and said, actually, she's a really lovely woman. She's charming. She's caring. She's a giver. We love how she's doing this cooking. She's obviously loyal to her friends. She's smart. She's got more charm in her left eyelash than that entire royal family, who obviously hated her, were jealous of her because she posed a threat, because she's just genuine. She's real. And we love her. Everyone is loving it. And I am here for it. I am here for the tide to turn for Meghan finally. She's shown the world, I'm okay. The mainstream media, stop listening to them. And I think the British media, TV and newspapers, online, whatever, you need to stop now, because you're beginning to make yourselves look really embarrassing and hateful people who've got nothing nice to say about a couple who take nothing from the taxpayers and just live in their own life happily. Leave them alone. Leave her alone. Do you know how hard it is for a non-white woman to show up without continually being berated and slated and these wild expectations? She's just living her best life, and honestly, good luck to her.
P-Dina, over to you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, what she was saying in the beginning there, things are not what she is saying. This show has gone down in the ratings. Hello. I mean, we all knew in the beginning it was going to be a lot of people watching it just to see what she had to, say for this show that had so many people talking about it. And it's going down in the ratings right now. So I don't know what she's talking about in terms of that. The other thing is, Meghan has done a lot of bad things that people never address when they talk about she's living her best life. She's a really nice person. She's all these wonderful things. Hello, have we seen the information that came out about Meghan being a bully to her staff? Hello, do you know that Meghan's father has been completely distant from her only because Meghan chooses to never speak to her father again for things that Meghan still continues to do in terms of bringing in people to take pictures of her? I mean, look at the things that she said to her father when her father, wanted to have his children in his life. Meghan said, get rid of your children or you're never going to speak to me again. What kind of person that is really the kind of person that she is saying Meghan is here does that? What kind of person does all the things that Meghan has done to the royal family, to Charlotte? You have to look at both sides. And I know people really want Meghan to be a winner and to show up and be all these great things. But the reality and the truth is she isn't. Address the things that this woman has done, the trauma that she has caused her own staff. really mention these things and understand that Meghan has done things that are not nice to the royal family. I mean, you look at what came out in that book, Endgame, how it just secretly came out, this Dutch version of this book that said the names of the king and Catherine are the racists in the royal family. You tell me with a straight face that Meghan didn't have anything to do with that. You see, what Meghan does is that she does things in a very sneaky, calculating way. She shows up to try to find ways to make it look like it's others, but behind it all, it's Meghan. She's doing all of these things, these nasty things that she doesn't want to have her fingerprints on them. But when you really look closely and honestly, they have Meghan's fingerprints on them. So I don't know how you can say this person is very nice and all these wonderful things, but never address the real reason why people do not really take to Meghan. And that's a good reason, because I always say this. Imagine if Meghan showed up married to someone in your family and she did the things that she did to the royal family, she did it to your family. Okay, what would you do? How would you then feel about this woman? Would you still think she's a nice woman? No, you would call it out. And that's what people have to understand. She's just not a great
No,
person. She's not what she wants us to
no.
believe.
And the thing is, P-Dina, you actually see whether people are nice people or not within the royal family just by the way that they interact with the public. And as what I call the palate cleanse, can we just take a look at this beautiful moment between Prince William, the Prince of Wales, and a woman, flame-haired woman, who he was meeting. And she really struggled with the selfie, right? She really struggled to take the selfie. Now, number one, could you even imagine Meghan bothering to do a selfie with a member of the public? No way. She never did. Just didn't happen. But William realized that this woman thought she'd taken the photo and she hadn't. And rather than just walk away, he tried again and again. And I just think it shows the character of him compared to the way that Meghan would treat members of the public. Watch.
How are you doing, Helen? Nice to see you. It's fantastic. I wish I had hair like that. Is that William? I've lost a chance. I've done it a few times. This is him.
Touching her. No issues with body contact.
No, there you go. Oh my god. Press the button. Oh my god. Got it.
Yes, he pressed the button. Oh, wasn't that lovely?
It's really nice. I think when people look at William and Catherine, for that matter, there really is this it factor that you just can't quite touch. And you feel it, and it's genuine. It's that inner thing that we feel when we see someone. And that's what people get when they see William. He seems very authentic. I mean, to take the time to redo that and to really show that you really care and that you wanted her to have the picture. And by touching her and just being sincere, we feel that that is real and genuine. And that's what people crave. That's what people want. And that's why they're so beloved, and why Meghan isn't, because we know she would show up in a very fake way. The one way you can tell Meghan is always really fake is that she's always smiling. She always looks desperate to be liked. And I think that's what people don't really like about her, one of the things. And so I just feel, yeah, that she just doesn't have it. She doesn't have the it factor. And that's her problem. And, hey, we can't really look at her and think, well, we just don't like her just to not like her. No, there's real gut feelings people have that they sense that give cause for these criticisms. And the sooner Meghan recognizes them and others that are her fans, I think the sooner she can try to be a better person. She needs to understand this is just not winning for her. And her fans need to realize it as well.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.